Hey guys, welcome to Clockwork Noodles for your full 2023 overview. In this video, we're going to break down what animes Becca is watching, what is coming out our way, new things to the channel, returning anime, and of course at the end we're going to do the 3 animes that I am breaking down on the channel with you guys. I am going to be doing it in a slightly different manner, a overview of what is continued on a page, so you guys can see it, you can read it, so we're not going to waste time on the stuff coming back, but I might highlight a few that I'm very excited about. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It has been such a strange season. The channel has slowed down. It always does. But the guys that have remained, we've had some fantastic conversations. We've had 2 animes pulling their weights this season. Very excited. And of course, I get to talk to you guys. You guys have been very active. And we had Clockwork Rewind. Testing of the water to see how it would do. It's done okay. It hasn't done great, but it hasn't done bad. It's been fun to do it with you guys. I've had a chance to talk about animes that I've really enjoyed. Stuff that I have grown up with, which I've been able to break down with you. Very excited to continue into a new season with you guys. There's a lot of returning animes. Let's quickly get that on the page right up here. We've got Jujutsu Kaisen continuing, doing a fantastic job of hurting me really badly. Sad thing for me with Jujutsu Kaisen is I've just had too many spoilers. The fan base has ruined it for me. I love the show, but it is sadly very spoiled to high hell for me, so I know exactly what's going to happen. Now, I have noticed that Attack on Titan, the second movie, is coming out. The final season. We have, of course, got Dr. Stone, New World Part 2. Love my Dr. Stone. Didn't do very well, sadly, on a channel, so it was dropped. Faraway Paladin is back for season 2, something that I have mentioned on the channel before. Dead Mount Death Play second core is back. Dark Gathering continue into the season. The Saint's Power is Omnipotent season 2 is coming back. And we've also got a reboot, which is going to be very interesting to watch, which is After School Hanako-kun, which was Toilet Bound Hanako. I did watch the original. It's Deku basically being evil. I love it. His voice actor getting to be a little bit more cheeky and naughty. But he's back and it's being restarted to be a bit more faithful to the manga, which I am very interested to watch, so I'll be checking that out. That is the stuff that is being continued over to the next season or returning sequels. Hopefully there's something on the list that you two are excited about the return of. Let's now go into new animes. These are animes that I might be watching or I have a great interest in that I'm going to watch in my spare time. The first one, which is a bit of a okay, I might give it a shot. You Were Experienced, I was not. It's another one of those dating stories that take place within the school setting. A guy is forced to ask his crush out due to shenanigans, and she's super popular. At the moment, she has nothing going on, so she's like, yeah, sure, let's date, because he wasn't expecting her to say yes. Thus, we're gonna have shenanigans happening. This one does seem to be very hyped for some reason, so it'll be interesting to see what the hype is all about, but the artwork looks pretty good. But for me, initially, it does seem a bit generic, so we'll have to see if that can bring anything new to the table when it comes to romance in schools. The second one I think could be a little on a controversial side from what I can see. It's called The Kingdom of Ruin. From what I can see is once upon a time humans were once blessed by witches and they granted them powers and stuff, but humans began to be very interested in science and science started to outgrow magic. It got to the point when witches were starting to be hunted by humans. Humans thought that witches were getting in the way of science actually progressing, which make me wonder if it's a metaphor for science and the church perhaps getting in the way of one another. We've got a boy who was raised by witches. The woman who ends up raising him is killed by humans in the witch hunt that is going on, so he vows to get revenge against the human for killing his mentor. It does seem to, however, be a bit of a controversial one. I can't seem to see why, but everywhere I look there seems to be people slamming the anime. Initially the concept seems very interesting, so I will give it a shot. Let me know why this one's a controversial thing to talk about. The next one that we can talk about is My Daughter Left the Nest and Returned, an S-rank adventurer. We have an ex-adventurer losing his leg. He ended up becoming a farmer. He ends up finding an abandoned child and decides to raise the child as his own. When she becomes of age, she decides that she has to go on the adventure to try climbing up the ranks. The only reason she's actually doing it is to return to her father because she wants to see him again. And I think it might be the case that she's doing it to get money or recognition to maybe save her father's reputation. So it could be a bit of a heartwarming one that could make us cry a little bit, but does seem quite interesting, so it's on the list. The next one, let's go for more controversial, because there seems to be quite a few controversial ones coming out. We have A Girl and Her Guard Dog. Now, initially, I was like, this sounds interesting, but then something stuck out to me. I've seen a lot of people arguing about this one, so it's not just me, it's stuck out too. So we have initially got the granddaughter of a crime boss, Yakuza. She ends up enrolling into a high school, but due to her nature of her dad and her family, she ends up having to be very careful. She wants a normal life. She wants to get away from the fact that she's the daughter of him. Her guardian, or someone who is supposed to be watching over her, or decides that they want to watch over her, decides to enroll also in the school. Now, it does sound pretty fine, but then the last details kind of make you raise an eyebrow. He is a 26-year-old trying to masquerade as a 13-year-old or something. I couldn't remember exactly what age he was pretending to be. Seemed to be quite the age gap of this one, so naturally this one's blown up. This one I understand the controversy for. It's one of those arguments where I've seen a lot of people going, well, we shouldn't be pushing the Western ideals onto Japanese anime, which is always the argument when it comes to this kind of stuff. Fair, but I don't know. I'm gonna watch maybe an episode, see how I feel, but if it feels too cringe, I might just drop it. But I'm mentioning it here because I know this one has a bit of a fan base following. We'll have to see how this goes. Next one we want to talk about is called Tear Moon Empire. Now, this one looks very, very fascinating, and the more I dug about, the more I think this one could be a hidden gem of the season. Time traveling, fantasy, rom-comish kind of anime is based around a spoiled princess. Ended up being very spoiled in a world, and she ends up dying. So just as she's about to lose her head by the guillotine, her life is transferred into a younger self. She ends up going back in time, allowing to relive everything. She has the knowledge that she grew up to be a spoiled princess who everybody hated and then was overthrown. Now going to be about trying to avoid dying in the same manner. It does remind me of another anime that aired last season, which was the Last Boss one. The girl is then reborn again. She knows that the ending of the story is that she becomes a bad person, and she doesn't want to become a bad person. What I do really like with this one is the poster. Look at the guillotine in the background. It's creepy, it's ominous, it's just there as a constant reminder that if you're not a good person, bad things are going to befall you. So she gets a second chance of trying to be a decent person. I really hope that this actually is different from Last Boss. It was okay, but it became very much, I'm a good person, I'm a good person, I'm a good person. But it almost felt like she was too perfect. I'd like to see how this one handles it. The next one, I think everybody in my audience who has been watching Undead Girl is going to want to watch. You guys are going to want to pick this one up. I think this could be really cool. Ron Kamonohashi, Deranged Detective. We love our detective shows on the channel. You guys love it, and it always does really well on the channel. We're going to be following a detective duo, and they are a bit of a mismatched duo, as all detective teams really are. He's a police officer, and he ends up teaming up with somebody who has a few issues. He's very difficult to work with. Very interesting person in a sense, and they end up going into some very dark cases. It feels like a bit of a Sherlock Holmes type thing going on. I think, again, if you've watched Undead Girl Murder Fast, this is definitely worth at least checking out the first 3 episodes. Go by the first 3 episode rule. I think it could be one to watch if they handle their cards right. It feels like a modern retake, a Sherlock Holmes story. I think it's going to be similar to that, so it could be very interesting to see what they do with this one. Next up, we have Under Ninja. This one, I don't know if it sounds okay, but it could be okay. There are a few where I don't know if the blurbs are doing any justice for them. This is supposed to be a comedy, a slice of life, and an action. After World War II, we have a group created to try and deal with threats to security. They are staffed by ninjas, which is fun. They end up dealing with domestic affairs, all this action stuff kind of going on. We're now going to be following Kudo, who is a 17-year-old. He's at school, but he is generally considered a loser. He has apparently been placed on the list to become the next assassin ninja to step into the role. I don't quite know what the plot's trying to do. I do think it's been handled a little bit weirdly. It's a bit vague about what's going to happen, but it could be interesting because ninjas are generally quite cool, so we'll have to see how that goes. It's definitely on my list to give it a chance. The next one is just me loving my slice of lives. It is Firefighter Adago, Rescuer in Orange. Generally just an anime dedicated to firefighting, the art of firefighting. It's just one I added to the list. Every so often I get a nice slice of life that I like to dig into. This is about firefighting. It's probably Fire Force without the amazing fire powers. Could be fun, just something general for me to sit down with. The next one seems to be grabbing a lot of attention and starting to rattle around. I'm very excited for this. Migi and Dali. This one I think could get very trippy. It looks dark. It's a comedy mystery. And again, we love our mystery on the show. A couple who have no children, who have always wanted children, end up adopting one child. However, if you look at the poster, there's very clearly twins. It apparently is a revenge story. These kids look really evil. Whatever the artwork's doing, they look evil. Apparently, they're supposed to be nice to the family or something, but some stuff is going to go down, and I think it's going to get really dark. This could be the anime you want to put on your list, because I think the blurb isn't doing anything because it doesn't want to give anything away. So I get this. It's a mystery show that doesn't want to give away the fact that there's two of them, but they're on the poster, so I don't feel like I'm spoiling anything by telling you there's two kids who are twins. But it's going to be very interesting to see where it goes. I've been told this gets dark, it gets trippy. Apparently a bit of a Shadow's House type vibe to it. I will be very interested to see where this goes, but it looks like it's going to get bumpy. Another one I have is called Our Rainy Protocol. So we have a boy who is living with his mum and his sister. His dad has been killed, dead dad scenario. He is a gamer, an esport gamer, so he's very big into esports. Once his dad has died, he ends up retiring and working at a esport cafe. He tries to get some money and stops gaming to try and support his family. However, the cafe starts to go under. It's not doing very well. There is one way to save the business by entering a gaming championship and winning, because they get a lot of money, and the money goes to the cafe. Not quite sure why he wouldn't enter and just try and get the money to support his family. I'm sure it's just another case of the blurb not doing a good job. Now, it does seem pretty interesting. I do like my esports. It'll be interesting to see how they put that across in the show. Obviously, we had Yamada-san, and I love that anime to pieces, with esports being mentioned a little bit because he's a pro gamer in there. Would be exciting to see how they do it. And apparently, in the championship, he meets somebody who knows him from before, who knew him from online, and they recognise his playstyle, and it's going to lead to shenanigans. So it could be a heartwarming one. I think that could be something to watch. The next anime is My New Boss is Goofy, which could be interesting. It's a adult workplace cast. It's an older anime geared for older people, workplace slice of life, a comedy as well. I like animes which deal with more relatable issues. I don't relate to school anymore because I'm not in school. It's been a very long time since I attended school. I am at work. I have a boss. So this is going to be an anime that I can hopefully get behind. We have a gentleman who ended up leaving a workplace that was really toxic. He ended up dealing with a lot of bullying from his past boss. So he's very nervous about starting a new role. It ends up being the fact that his new boss is very different from his old. It's in the sense that his new boss is a goofball, a complete goofball through shenanigans and stuff, and we're going to be following the day-to-day of actually having a decent boss going through their day-to-day lives. Something I'll look forward to. Older topics, like we had the cat one, which I really loved to pieces. That anime was amazing, and it was just nice to see the day-to-day of watching people live their lives and just having some bits and pieces going on which make the day interesting. So very excited to have this. Second from last, penultimate anime on the new list, Go Boys Sing. It's a comedy, it's music, it's fun. This is a famous choir member who ended up living a shut-in life. He wanted to head away from everything, put music behind him. He ends up singing in secret because apparently old passions don't die very well. A former orchestra conductor ends up hearing him singing. However, this conductor was a problematic conductor. His behaviour was bad, people didn't like him, he was very hard to read. Given a penultimate ultimatum that you are not going to be allowed to run a choir unless you are able to win a competition with a choir. So he's given a deadline to assemble a choir to enter a competition and try and win. So he tries to assemble the best choir that there ever was, and he obviously tries to get our shut-in onto the team, and we've got to deal with him being a very hard to read character and seeing the problems that they face. But I really hope that they spend a bit more time focusing on the music. I like music animes, but sometimes I find they don't really do much of the music thing. If you're going to give me a music anime, I want to be dealing with music. I want to actually see some scores. I want to hear you sing some different bits, which isn't the same piece repeated over and over. Of course, I'm doing something a little bit different. I don't actually have any start dates as of yet for these guys, just simply because I'm recording a little bit earlier because I am heading to Madrid and I don't actually have the start dates for any of these animes. It's going to be interesting to see as well how the new schedule fits, because I have recently been given a promotion, so I'm going to have to deal with being very busy but also running at least 3 animes on the show that I plan to do. So let's talk about the first anime returning in October. I don't have a date just yet for this one. It is Spy X Family Season 2. We've broken this down on the channel before. You guys absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was fun. I have cosplayed as Yor, really enjoyed it. The music is great. I can't wait to break down some of those OPs, because the OPs are also really, really good. They put so much into the OPs. There's a lot of really nice storytelling going on. I really can't wait to get my hands onto a new season, because there's supposed to be a movie. I don't think the movie's going to come out in Europe anytime soon, but hopefully it doesn't roll into the second season where you need to watch it before. But definitely excited to see what our family get up to, because it's been fun to break down. And of course, I get to continue with you guys. The next one I do have a start date for. It's going to be Thursdays on my channel, Ancient Magus Bride. Part 2 of season 2. It's coming back to the channel. It's been a bit of an interesting one. They did kind of cut off halfway. I felt like part 1 was a little bit slow, being a bit rushed in my opinion. So it would be nice to see if they can give part 2 the love that it deserves, and hopefully it picks up, because I do love the world of Ancient Magus Bride. It's set in the UK. Very rare do I get to talk about an anime set in the UK, so it's nice to have a breather to be able to break something down from my own home to give you guys an opinion on it. So I can't wait to break that one down with you guys. The next one I'm breaking down is my newcomer to the channel. I can't wait. It's perhaps the one I'm most excited about for the whole season, and that is including the returns like Spy X. This got my attention. I know you guys don't often like me bringing in Chinese anime. This, I can tell you, is based on Chinese anime, but it is handled by primarily Japanese studios. But I'd ask you guys once again to trust me as I promote the Apothecary Diaries to you guys. Now we're talking about a drama, a historical medical mystery drama. It has an October date, but again, we don't actually have any dates as of yet. All I know is that it's a 2-course series. It's going to have episode 1 to 3 back to back. We're going to do a mega breakdown on the channel. It's going to be quite painful, but I will do the back to back. This one I am very excited with. Now we are going to be in China. It's very beautiful. Look at some of the artwork. Absolutely gorgeous. You guys liked The Raven of the Inner Palace. A lot of you ended up picking it up because I was promoting it so well. And you were like, okay, I'll give it a shot. I'll see how it goes down. And you guys loved it. You guys actually started to ask me for recommendations, stuff like that from China. We have a young girl called Mao Mao. Never really good when it comes to Chinese pronunciation, so bear with me on this. I will get my head around it when I hear the pronunciation. So she lives a peaceful life with her dad, who runs an apothecary. So she grows up learning medicine. If you know Becca, my history dissertation at university was in the history of medicine. One day she ends up being sold as a servant into the Emperor's palace. Don't know why. I don't know if her father's a bad person or not. I don't know if it's just because she's of age or it needed to happen, but we will find out. She knows that she wasn't really meant for the life. She wasn't really meant to be there. She's not really compliant for life amongst royalty. She's very different. She's grown up very differently. One day we have a royal heir falling really sick. She has medicine. She's got that medical background. So she steps in and cures the heir, ends up catching the eye of the officials of the palace. They end up promoting her, but shenanigans are going to start going down. We've got medical mysteries going down, and apparently we've got some lovey-dovey aspects, but it's not actually promoted as a romance anime whatsoever. It's not there in the tags. There's no romance being pushed. From what I can really see is that they fall for her, but she has no real interest in the princess or anything, because her love is medicine. This looks gorgeous. This sounds gorgeous. The trailer is already out, so go check out the trailer. For once, I can give you gifts. I can actually give you gifts of an anime that hasn't aired yet. I promise you that I've got a good vibe, and generally with The Raven in the Palace, same thing. I just had a vibe. I think this show It's going to be special. It's going to be a show to watch, and I think it could take us places that are unique. I don't think there's much medical anime out there that's airing at the moment. I definitely think we're going to have fun breaking this down. I'm really excited to break another Chinese influence source material coming across. It is going to be spoken in Japanese, so we're going to have Japanese voice actors. There are more animes airing. There's lots of isekai coming out. There's plenty coming out, so do check out the list to see what's coming out as well. A list of things that have got my attention that I might be looking at. Lots of stuff continuing and lots of new animes coming our way. So I really can't wait to see you guys again next season. Thank you guys so much for your continued support, and I really hope that there's something on the list and my breakdown list that you are interested in. Let me know if you'll be joining me for any of my breakdowns. Take care of yourself, guys. It's been a fantastic season, and I can't wait to share another season with you guys. Have a great day. Bye bye.